So like I said, I want to talk about staying on edge because I think that as a newer struggling trader, I can think back to when I got into trading and I would hear people say, you want to stay on edge, you want to stay on edge, you want to stay true to your system. But I didn't really know how to live by that sentence, how to really stay on edge in my everyday trading. So what I want to start with today, we're going to focus in on one pair on my watch list, on Euro AUD. The reason why I want to focus in on this is because it's a great example of how important it is to stay on your edge. So before I show you the chart, let me just explain what I mean by the word edge. Simply put, to me and what's working for other traders in ASFX, an edge comes from your trading system. So you cannot have an edge without a system. If you come to the market and you just look to throw trades around, that would be trading without an edge, without a system. And that's where I would throw you into the same bucket as the gamblers. But if you want to not be a gambler, if you want to take this seriously and treat it like a real business and grow something serious, then you want to make sure you're staying on edge, which therefore means you must have a system. Now, I'll take that even a step further and say you don't just need any old system. You need a system that is repeatable by you based on your schedule, based on your routine, things like that, based on your time zone. You need to not just have it be repeatable, but it has to be something that aligns with your belief system, what you believe about markets, what you believe about money, what you believe about your own success, just to name a few. Those are your underlying beliefs that through deep psychological work, through deep psychological improvement, we uncover those beliefs. Because for a lot of you guys, you're going to say, Austin, I don't know my own beliefs. I mean, I want to make money. That's my belief. It's much deeper than that, and it's very individualistic, and it only comes from doing the psychological work to know yourself better to then become a better trader. It's a very clear parallel. The more you know about yourself, the better your trading results will be. But anyway, what I was saying about the system is it has to be repeatable, it has to align with your beliefs, and then the third thing is that it has to be back-tested. And that's what I'm a big believer in, is data, statistics, math. I said to Riley yesterday at the pool, the universe is, we joke around, we're just funny sometimes. She goes, the universe is made up of love. And I said, no, love is what holds the universe together, but the universe is made up of math. And the reason I share that with you guys today is just because I want you to see in trading, no matter what opinion we may have, it should always come back to math when it comes to putting our hard-earned money to work. So now that you understand what goes into a system, you then understand what a trading edge is. An edge is using that system that aligns with your beliefs, that's repeatable by you, and that's back-tested and proven profitable. Those are the three things, if you're taking notes, that I would write down when looking for an edge, when looking to build your edge. And again, you don't need to take courses to learn a system. You can go in and build a system for yourself. If you have the time to back-test it, if you learn how to do it the right way, anybody can do that if I can do it. So if you want to go that route. But otherwise, I would find someone that's educating people like we do at ASFX with a back-tested, proven profitable system with a clear statistics to back it, clear expectancy data, all of that stuff. So now that we have our system and now that we know what it means to stay on edge, in that system, we're going to have entry rules, trigger signals, trade management rules, position sizing rules. All of that will be detailed for you. It should be. And if you don't know how to do that, again, that's why you would take someone's course like we have at ASFX or build it yourself. But to finish my thought here, if you have your edge, you have your system, you then have your trigger signals. You cannot have a trading edge without a system. You cannot have a trading system without a trigger signal. See how they're all tied together? So with you understanding now that you need a trigger signal, when we come to the market and we can create a bias, for example, if we look at Euro AUD today, we can create a long bias based on the price action movement overnight up until this morning. And more importantly for us at ASFX, we use the TDI. So right here, the Traders Dynamic Index, the yellow market sentiment line at the bottom here, telling us to be long bias today, how it's in what we call the buy zone. So again, even right now, what I'm reading to you, what I'm talking to you about is based on my edge. Who else calls this yellow line market sentiment? Not many people. That's a part of my edge. These EMAs, that's a part of my edge. These lines to mark off my Asian range, that's all a part of the edge. So when I come to the market, we generate the bias. We now can align that bias within our edge to look for a trigger signal. I don't want to lose you too much in the terms here, but this is trading. This is the business. So with the system, you have your edge. You know where you're looking for trigger signals. The difference here that I think everyone needs to really remember and really stay up on is that having a bias, being able to come into the market here and read the market sentiment line and read price action in the EMAs is really not that difficult. So to find the bias is normally easy. Finding the trigger signal is much more difficult and requires much more patience, which is a part of why it's difficult. What I see a lot of people doing is they take trades based on a bias, not a trigger signal. I'll say that with my face big here. A lot of people take trades based on a bias, a direction they think the market will move, rather than waiting for a trigger signal to align with that bias. You cannot just throw the one punch. It's got to be the 1-2. It's got to be the bias and the entry signal. Just the bias is not going to do it. You're more close to the gambling bucket than you are to the on-edge bucket if you're just trading off a directional bias. I joke with everybody in the group chat and I say, a monkey could find a bias. Really, a chimpanzee could be trained to read price action, read EMAs, and read a market sentiment line. That's very simple. But then waiting for the trigger signal, like I said, is where the money is made or lost. So to bring this full circle here about why it's important to stay on edge and hear a great lesson this morning, this is a clear long bias. Very clear. But that doesn't mean we take trades on it. If we were to take a long position here, we most likely would be getting stopped out right now, or we'd be negative. So first, let's just break down where the potential entries could be. We're in trend, so we're not looking for a D2 reversal. We're looking for an A1 or a D1. The A1, D1, and D2 are what we teach at ASFX. So if you want more information on those, the link is in the description for the courses. You can learn more about that very easily down there. You can read testimonials and all that stuff. But for this, because we're in trend and we're at the 50 EMA, we're looking for A1s and we're looking for D1s. Now, it is very far, this RSI is very far from the market sentiment line, which makes it tough to find an A1 entry. So right there, I know we're not going to get an A1. On top of that, it actually falls through the red 21 EMA, crossing the 8 and 21 EMAs down right here at about 615. So when we're looking for longs, one thing that we don't want to be doing is buying it when the 8 EMA is under the 21. Because when the 8 EMA is under the 21 EMA, that signals a short-term downshift. If we're looking to go long, we don't want to be trading when it's in a downshift. That's a short-term downtrend. We want to be trading when it's in an upshift. So this morning, as we're watching this, once it shifts down, I'm already kind of skeptical of us not getting our long entry. However, as you can see, it holds the 50, this blue line, the 50 EMA, and starts to come up off it. It actually tries to cross the 8 over the 21 and induce you into a shift candle entry. But it doesn't present proper because the RSI does not come through that market sentiment line as it should, based on our back testing, for a proper trigger signal. And on top of that, as it starts to come back down, you are really just seeing it make lower highs off this initial high set at the London session as we change from the London to the New York session. So the downshift is the first sign that it's not ready to move higher. But some people could be looking to buy it here. And if you do that because you're not on edge, it is not an A1 signal, you end up getting burned. You end up taking the loss. And that's something that you're going to have to deal with on your own, in your reflection, in your journaling. Look, if you take the trade and you choose to ignore it and move on and not want to look it over and not get better from it, we've all been there. I was that guy. You're not going to grow. You have to be able to face your losses, face your mistakes head on, and fix it going forward. So if you take an entry without a proper signal, if you get into a trade without a trigger based on your system, based on your edge, you have to confront yourself and say, what am I doing? Why am I gambling? Why am I so hungry to make money that I'm trying to force it out of the market? And every time you try to do that, the market's going to smack you in the face. Every time. Every time. Now, just to finish this idea through here, you would say, well, Austin, couldn't a D1 entry also be on edge? Of course. But if we look at the 1 minute here, you can see this 1 minute divergence on the left side here is bullish, which is great. But for a really great D1, we want that 1 minute to come down to the 800, this blue line. It doesn't do that. So the first sign right there that it is off edge is that it doesn't do what we know it should do if it's a good entry. So some people would say, well, let's just buy it here. Let's just buy it here. Let's just try to catch some of this momentum. Bigger picture, you looking at the 15 minute, you know that this isn't right. Then even on the 1 minute, knowing that it didn't come to the 1 minute 800 EMA, then it's not even a D1. So it's very close to that entry signal, to that trigger signal, but it's not there. So you have to be able to say, okay, it's not there. Hands go under your butt cheeks, sit on your hands. That's as simple as it is when you don't have an entry on edge. So I don't want to linger on this too much. I want to go through the rest of the watch list, but I wanted to make it very clear to you guys about what it means to stay on edge. You've got to stay on edge when you're looking to take trades or you're gambling. It is that simple. And your edge comes from your system. Your system details your trigger signals. Your trigger signals tell you when to take the trade, not the direction the trade should move. Euro AUD could still move higher today after it pulls down to the 200. That can still happen. I've seen that many times. And what that would say is that your bias was right, but your timing on your trigger signal was off. So to really hone this in, it requires practice and an understanding of three things: your system, your edge, and your entry signal, your trigger signal. What's going to get you to pull the trigger? That's the most important thing. The bias is easy, everybody, but finding that trigger is very important. And if it's not there, sit on your hands. Don't take an unnecessary loss. Wait for the winning trade. I'm flat today to start the week. I had 2 trades last week and 2 trades the week before. If I don't find a trade this week till Wednesday, I don't have any control over that. I've given up all control to the market. I let the market paint great entries to me, and I react by taking those trigger signals as they present, not trying to catch some crazy momentum. If that makes sense to you, hit the thumbs up button. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat right now. Let me see if we have any questions here. I had the gambling edge this morning, no said. I took an L on Euro AUD, forced it about 15 minutes. I was in profit, but after reviewing every parameter, I did not have an entry. I accepted whatever the outcome is going to be. Even if it's a winner, still wasn't proper setup. Nice. See, and then she says, I journaled it down. Love that. No came to one of our seminars this year, so it's good to see her practicing her discipline and practicing her honesty with herself, really. Yep. Thank you, Luca. Love how I started thinking more and more. Love that. I love that. That's the goal. The reason I'm doing these live streams is because I want to share how I think every day with you guys. It's hard to get that across in video courses, you know? Vince, good morning, bro. I'm glad you got home safe.